Genesis chapter 47, out of the Passion Translation. Jacob blesses Pharaoh. Verse 1. Joseph took 5 of his brothers with him to Pharaoh and presented them to the king. Joseph said to Pharaoh, "My father and my brothers have come from Canaan with their flocks, their herds, and all that they own. They have made their camp in the region of Goshen." Pharaoh asked the men, "What is your occupation?" "Well, we your servants are shepherds, just as our fathers were," they answered. "We have come to stay as temporary residents in this country because in the land of Canaan the famine is so severe that there is no pasture for your servants' flocks. Please give us permission to settle in the land of Goshen." Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that your father and your brothers have arrived, the land of Egypt is theirs. Let them settle in the best parts of the land in the region of Goshen, and if there are any competent men among them, put them in charge of my own livestock." Later Joseph brought Jacob into the house and presented him before Pharaoh, and Jacob gave Pharaoh a blessing. Pharaoh asked Jacob, "How old are you?" Jacob answered, "My earthly journey has been 130 years. My years have been few and hard, but it doesn't compare to the length of the earthly journeys of my fathers." Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh again and departed. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers in the choicest part of the land of Egypt, in the district of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Joseph also provided his father and brothers and their families, down to their little ones, with all the food they needed. Now there was no food anywhere, for the famine was very severe. Both the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine, and the people of Egypt and Canaan spent all their money to buy grain. Joseph gathered all the money from the sale of grain and deposited the wealth into Pharaoh's treasury. When the money ran out in Egypt and Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and pleaded with him, "All our money is gone. Give us food. Why would you let us die in front of your eyes?" Joseph answered, "If your money is gone, then give me your livestock. I will give you food in exchange for your livestock." So in that year they brought their livestock to Joseph, their horses, sheep, cattle, and donkeys, and he supplied them with food in exchange for their livestock. The next year they came to him and said, "Master, it's no secret to you that we are broke. All our silver and livestock are now yours. We have nothing left but ourselves and our lands. Why would you let us die in front of your eyes, leaving all our lands uninhabited? Buy us and buy our lands in exchange for our food. We'll become Pharaoh's slaves and give up our land. Only give us seed so that we may live and not die, and so that the land will not become a desert." So Joseph gained possession of all the farmland in Egypt for Pharaoh. Every Egyptian sold his land in exchange for food, for the famine was that severe. Eventually, the Egyptians had transferred all the land to Pharaoh. Everyone became a slave to Pharaoh, from one end of Egypt to the other. However, he did not take over the land of the priests, for they received royal subsidies from Pharaoh. They lived on the food he provided for them, and that is why they did not have to sell their land. Joseph said to the people, "Today I have acquired for Pharaoh you and all your land. Here is seed for you to sow in the land. But when harvest comes, you must pay 1/5 to Pharaoh, and you may keep the rest for planting your fields and for food for yourselves and your families to nourish your household and your little ones." "You have saved our lives," they said. May we find favor? May we find your favor, our Lord, and we will be slaves to Pharaoh." Thus Joseph established the law of the land in Egypt, which is still in effect. 1/5 will go to Pharaoh. Only the land of the priests did not become Pharaoh's. Jacob's last request. Verse 27. Israel and his descendants settled in Egypt in the land of Goshen. They had many children and multiplied, and they acquired property. Jacob lived in Egypt for 17 years and lived a total of 147 years. When the time of Israel's death was near, he summoned his beloved Joseph and said to him, "Son, do me this favor before I die. Place your hand under my thigh as a pledge that you will show me kindness and loyal love. Do not bury me in Egypt. But when I go to rest with my fathers, I want you to carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried. Swear that you will do this." So Joseph took an oath and said, "I will do as you say." Then Israel worshipped and leaned on top of his staff.